Saturday, oh Saturday, Vigna Vinashani.
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 Namo Namah, Namo Namah. Namo Namah, Namo Namah. Saturday, oh Saturday, Vigna Vinashani.
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 Namo Namah, Namo Namah. Namo Namah, Namo Namah. Saturday, Atma Swarupini Saturday, Ambe Ma Saturday, Jyotir Swarupini Saturday, Durgi Ma Saturday, Atma Swarupini Saturday, Ambe Ma Saturday, Jyotir Swarupini Saturday. swati swaha Om Saraswati swaha Saraswati Vagdevi Mumbai Vani Saraswati Vagdevi Mumbai Sharade Atma Swarupini Sharade Swarupini Sharade Durgi Ma Sharade Atma Swarupini Sharade Ambe Ma Sharade Jyotir Swarupini Sharade Kali Ma Sharade Oh Sharade Namo Namah